Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama.
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, dear devotee. Welcome all for the Nityam Bhagavata Sevya sessions. Today we will hear a recorded class by His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Swami Maharaj from Canto 5, Chapter 26, 38th Shloka. This is, I think, third last Shloka from the 26th chapter from the 5th Canto. So in this class, Maharaj will be summarizing the 5th Canto. So I'll just play the class.
Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, are you able to see and hear the class?
We are able to hear, but we see a screen.
Screen, huh? Okay, 1 second, 1 second.
Krishna Krishna.
Now we can see.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Screens
Namo
have some blackout, Prabhu. Some
Bhagavate
portion of the screen blackout.
Vasudevaya.
Okay, 1 second. Somehow I'm not able to remove the on the top of the screen.
It's okay, Prabhu.
Yeah,
No problem.
I'll play
No
this.
problem. Yeah, please. Hare Krishna Dandavata Prabhu.
Om Surabhyay Namaha. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Om Surabhyay Namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangom langayate girim yad kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Vinataranam yad kripat maham bande Sri Gurum Vinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our Bhagavatam class. This is a ongoing reading, or this? Huh?
We are in 5th canto.
Fifth canto. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Perfect timing. Beginning of Bhagavatam. Oh. For you. Yeah, of course. What text? For those who might be wondering, we normally have been having Bhagavatam class in the afternoon in South India.
Yes.
We're still in South India, but a bit north. And but we are now in. We have come to Krishnanagar. No one knows where Krishnanagar is. Not the Mayapur Krishnanagar. We have come to the Krishnanagar close to Hyderabad. And we are the residents of
38, text number 38.
38, eh? So this is what?
This is 1st canto actually.
Okay.
Rameshwar Prabhu.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. We're in the residence of Vasudam Prabhu and family, and our first Bhagavatam class here. Welcome. From Hyderabad. How far from here?
It's 10 kilometers.
10 kilometers. Oh, not so bad. I mean, yeah. So, Srimad Bhagavatam. Oh, the hellish planets. Text 38. Very good. long text. We'll just okay. Do you have a book here?
I have
You have it there, eh? Okay.
third time.
Canto 5, chapter 26, text number 38. Nivriti
Nivriti
Lakshana
Lakshana
Marga
Marga
Adav
Adav
Eva
Eva
Vyakhyatah
Vyakyatah
Etavan
Etavan
Evando
Evanda
Kosho
Kosho
Yash
Yash
Chaturdashadha
Chaturdashada
Puraneshu
Puraneshu
Vikalpita
Vikalpita
Upagiyate
Upagiyate
Yat
Yat
Tad
Tad
Bhagavato
Bhagavato
Narayanasya
Narayanasya
Sakshan
Sakshan
Maha
Maha
Purushasya
Purushasya
Sabistham
Savishtam
Rupam
Rupam
Atmamaya
Atmamaya
Gunamayam
Gunamayam
Anuvarnitam
Anuvarnitam
Adritaha
Adrutaha
Patati
Patati
Srinoti
Shrunoti
Sravayati
Shravayati
Sa
Sa
Upageyam
Upageyam
Bhagavataha
Bhagavataha
Paramatmano
Paramatmano
Grahyam
Agrayam
Api
Api
Shraddha
Shraddha
Bhakti
Bhakti
Vishuddha
Vishuddha
Buddhir
Buddhir
Veda.
Veda.
I will not read the text, but I will go directly to the word for word. Nivritti Lakshana Margaha.
Nivritti Lakshana Margaha.
The path symptomized
The path symptomized
by renunciation,
by renunciation,
or the path of liberation.
or the path of liberation.
Adao,
Although
in the beginning,
in the beginning,
the second and third
the
cantos.
second and third cantos,
Eva,
Eva,
indeed.
indeed,
Vyakyataha,
Vyakyataha,
described.
described,
Itavan,
Etavan,
this much.
this much,
Eva,
Eva,
certainly.
certainly,
Andakoshaha,
Andakoshaha,
the universe,
the universe,
which resembles
which resembles
a big egg.
the big egg.
The universe which resembles a big egg, yeah. Not a big ball, a big egg. Yaha,
Yaha,
which
which
Chaturda Sadha,
Chaturdashada,
in 14 parts,
in 14 parts,
Puraneshu,
Puraneshu,
in the Puranas,
in the Puranas,
Vikalpitaha,
Vikalpitaha,
divided,
divided,
Upagiyate,
Upagiyate,
is described,
is described,
Yat,
yet,
which,
which,
Tat,
that,
that, Bhagavataha,
Bhagavataha,
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
of the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
Narayanasya,
Narayanasya,
of Lord Narayana,
of Lord Narayana,
Sakshat,
Sakshat,
directly,
directly,
Mahapurushasya,
Mahapurushasya,
of the Supreme Person,
of the Supreme Person,
Savistam,
Savistam,
the gross,
the gross,
Rupam,
Rupam,
form,
form,
Atmamaya,
Atmamaya,
of his own energy,
of his own energy,
Guna,
Guna,
of the qualities,
of the qualities,
Mayam,
Mayam,
consisting,
consisting,
Anuvarnitam,
Anuvarnitam,
described,
described,
Adritaha,
Adritaha,
venerating,
venerating,
Patati,
Patati,
one reads, Srinoti, or hears, Sravayati, or explains, Saha, that person, Upageyam, song, Bhagavataha, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatmanaha, of the Supersoul, Agrahyam, difficult to understand, Api, although, Shraddha, by faith, Bhakti, and devotion, Vishuddha, purified, Buddhihi, whose intelligence, Veda, understands. Hare Krishna. We have made it through. The translation is practically longer than the purport. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. In the beginning, and in bracket, the second and third cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, now we are in the fifth canto. I have already described how one can progress on the path of liberation. Who's speaking here? Okay. Shukadeva Goswami is speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. So in the beginning, I have already described how one can progress on the path of liberation. In the Puranas, the vast universal existence, which is like an egg divided into 14 parts, is described. This vast form is considered the external body of the Lord, created by His energy and qualities. It is generally called the Virata Rupa. If one reads the description of this external form of the Lord with great faith, or if one hears about it or explains it to others to propagate Bhagavat Dharma or Krishna consciousness, his faith and devotion in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness, will gradually increase. Although developing this consciousness is very difficult, by this process one can purify himself and gradually come to an awareness of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Everyone may kindly repeat after me. In the beginning, the second and third cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, I have already described how one can progress on the path of liberation. In the Puranas, the vast universal existence, which is like an egg, divided into 14 parts, is described. This vast form is considered the external body of the Lord, created by His energy and qualities. It is generally called the Virata Rupa. If one reads the description of this external form of the Lord with great faith, and if one hears about it or explains it to others
and explains it to others,
to propagate Bhagavad Dharma
to propagate Bhagavata Dharma
or Krishna consciousness,
or Krishna consciousness,
his faith and devotion
his faith and devotion
in spiritual consciousness,
in spiritual consciousness,
Krishna consciousness,
Krishna consciousness
will gradually increase.
will gradually increase.
Although developing this consciousness
Although developing this consciousness
is very difficult,
is very difficult,
by this process
by this process
one can purify himself
one can purify himself
and
gradually come
to an awareness
to an awareness
of the supreme absolute truth.
of the supreme absolute truth.
Purport. The Krishna consciousness movement is pushing forward the publication of Srimad Bhagavatam as explained especially for the understanding of the modern civilized man, to awaken him to his original consciousness. Without this consciousness, one melts into complete darkness. That's interesting. One melts into complete darkness. Whether one goes to the upper planetary systems or the hellish planetary systems, he simply wastes his time. Therefore, one should hear of the universal position of the Virata form of the Lord as described in Srimad Bhagavatam. That will help one to save himself from material conditional life and gradually elevate him to the path of liberation so that he can go back home, back to Godhead. So this is text number 38. So most of us have not been privileged immediately to hear the first 37 verses, like Vasudam Prabhu. But this is a fifth canto is quite a very important canto. I mean, all cantos are important, but this one has a unique significance in that the whole cosmic manifestation of the whole cosmology of this universe is described. And those who hear this description will find it very difficult to understand, as it is mentioned here. Some of the sections of the Bhagavatam are not at all easy to understand. The whole realm of spirituality in itself is not easy to understand, and even the realm of material existence or material world is also not easy to understand. There is mention here of the Virata Rupa, this whole cosmic manifestation. As we read in the Bhagavad Gita, was actually revealed to Arjuna. Arjuna, at one point in his exchange with Lord Krishna, requested that, my dear Lord, I'm curious to see about your universal form. And of course we know that the Lord, He granted that wish or desire to Arjuna. And so there's a whole chapter on the universal form of the Lord. And it is very nicely described in detail. And as Arjuna was having darshan of this universal form of the Lord, he became more and more disturbed and anxious because it was just like overwhelming. Krishna explains that actually this universal form had never been revealed to anyone. And we can see by the description how it is totally inconceivable to our tiny, limited ability that we have, especially in this conditioned state embodied with within this material world. So one of the important instructions being given here is that as we go on hearing about such description of things which are, totally inconceivable to us, it will help us to appreciate the position of the Supreme Lord. In other words, by knowing about the creation of the Lord, how wonderful is that creation, how it is divided in these different 14 planetary systems, how everything is contained within Mount Sumeru. That's also inconceivable, People, where's Mount Sumeru? I can't see Mount Sumeru. What can we see? It's like if somebody is in a mountain cave. Where's the mountain? We have very limited perception, and therefore can understand very little. Actually, when the fifth canto, some of you might have heard this explanation by Srila Prabhupada, or this, we could say, remark. Srila Prabhupada told his disciples, early disciples, when the fifth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam will be printed, and when some of my disciples will read this fifth canto, some of them will leave Krishna consciousness. It's just too far out. Because some of those descriptions also contradict some of the well-known and accepted scientific principles or scientific knowledge that is prevalent in modern day society. That is also one of the main reasons why Srila Prabhupada, he wanted that we make this temple of Vedic planetarium in Mayapur to actually depict or demonstrate, to physically, we could say, duplicate what is mentioned in the fifth canto of the Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada was very keen on this, of course, and since many, many years, a good number of devotees, many of whom have a scientific background. One of the most prominent disciples of Srila Prabhupada, who's no longer with us, many of you may not have known him, Sarvaputta, his name, Sarvaputta Prabhu. You've heard this name?
Nice.
Yeah. He wrote quite extensive. He had a very good ability to understand. So, just like this whole chapter, which is actually describing various hellish planets, there are places within this universe, just like on this planet also, those who travel a little bit, or even within a country like India, there's so many varieties. You go up north to the Himalayas, well, it's all mountain and ice, and certain times of the year one cannot travel to Badrinath, for example. It's too not accessible. They close. So you have, even within one planet of this universe, so much of variety and contrast is there. These descriptions are given of the lower planetary systems, referred to as the hellish planets. Bhagavatam is giving information about living entities who are living either in some of the higher planetary systems, referred to as heavenly planets or Svargaloka, and then lower planetary systems that include Patalaloka, various, so many, not only one hellish planet, but many hellish planets also are described in the Bhagavatam. So one of the important instructions here is that wherever one goes, even one may be attracted to go to the heavenly planets, whether it's in the heavenly planets or any other planet in the material world, one will never be satisfied or happy, because it is still within the material world, and unless we read books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, we will not understand that actually there is another existence or another world which is in the spiritual world, and that is where we all belong. So therefore, reading, coming to know, even though we may not understand, so many things are just beyond our ability. With our limited material faculties of the senses, of the material senses, of the material mind, and of the material intelligence, practically we cannot understand anything. We definitely cannot understand anything of the spiritual world, because what can we understand with something material, something that is spiritual? It's just impossible. And even within the material sphere, within the material world, when we hear these particular descriptions, what can we understand, isn't it? But Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter, Krishna gives this very nice instruction at the very end of Bhagavad Gita, whereby he tells Arjuna, thus understanding oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, to the mind, to the intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady one's mind by, what is that word? By, very nice word that Prabhupada chose, by deliberate, yeah, that's the word, by deliberate, can you find it for me? Last verse, by deliberate, listen carefully. One should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. And thus, by spiritual strength, one can conquer over the what is everyone's insurmountable enemy, which is Number 3. It's chapter 3, last verse of chapter 3, which is actually verse, let me see here, 43. I'll just read the verse. Evam budhe param budva samsabhyat manam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. This is how we can actually come to understand something or transcend this material sphere. Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. In bracket, Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada, here also in the text, he specifies at the end of the translation, devotion and spiritual consciousness means Krishna consciousness. Spiritual consciousness means one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus by spiritual strength conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust, which is distracting us from our real goal and purpose of life, which is referred to here also at the end of this text, that by hearing such descriptions of the external form of the Lord with great faith, either by hearing it, by reading it to others, for the purpose of propagating Bhagavad Dharma or Krishna consciousness, one's faith and devotion in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness will gradually increase. So it means that our ability to begin to understand will be directly based on our level of consciousness, on how much we have become purified. And the process of purification, of course, is described, especially in the Bhagavatam, and also by constant hearing, the whole process of Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, by this process of hearing both the topics relating to the spiritual nature of Godhead, to the spiritual world, to Krishna, his different incarnations, and also by hearing about this material world and how it is, how Krishna in his inconceivable energy has created this material world. And that also Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matas sarvam pravartate iti madhva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. One who actually understands, the more one understands how Krishna has created this material world, how he maintains it, and how it is annihilated, and how this process is has been ongoing since time immemorial, then by this process of purification, we will begin to understand a little bit. What can we understand? A little bit, just a little bit. Even Lord Brahma, who's the most advanced, most intelligent living entity, has very little understanding of what this whole universe is all about, because he happens to be in charge of the smallest of the universes. All the other universes, we are living in the smallest of universes, and still we cannot understand the smallest of universes. So our situation, therefore, is to accept that we are very, indeed, very small and very insignificant. And if we agree to this process recommended by the Lord of reading or hearing or speaking about, trying to explain, very significant also, it means that actually our whole life, whatever we are doing, whatever we are speaking, needs to be connected with what is mentioned here, Bhagavat Dharma. Everything actually is meant to be centered, everything is meant to rotate on this whole, the actual, we can say, reality, what is our permanent reality, what is connected with Bhagavad Dharma. It means what is connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In one of the earlier cantos, I think maybe first or second canto, there's a nice purport that Prabhupada is giving, whereby the same two personalities are there. It is Parikshit Maharaj who's hearing from Shukadeva Goswami, and Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukadeva Goswami a question about the universe. And in the purport, very nicely Prabhupada explains, one may wonder that this Parikshit Maharaj, he knows that he will leave his body within 7 days. Why is he wasting his time asking about the planets? I'm paraphrasing, Prabhupada didn't say why is he wasting his time, but he was making the point, Prabhupada was making the point, why is it that such a great exalted personality, they're both great personalities, Shukadeva Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, but Parikshit Maharaj, if we know that we're going to leave our body within a few days, why is he asking these kind of questions to Shukadeva Goswami? Then Prabhupada explains that for a devotee to know about the Lord, let's say in the spiritual world, and to know about what is going on in the spiritual world, or to know about bhakti, devotional service, or to know about how the Lord has actually created this material world, it's the same thing, because it's all indicating, it's all an expression of the Lord's greatness, how powerful He is, how inconceivable He is, and therefore the more we understand this, the more we appreciate that, the more we will glorify the Lord, the more we will surrender to Him, the more we will serve His mission, the more we will understand that actually that is the only permanent, let's say, reality, and therefore will bring us closer, basically, to Krishna. And that is the goal of life, actually, to reconnect with Krishna by hearing about Him and by hearing about His creation, anything in connection with Him. Okay. Any comments or questions? Clarifications? Yes?
Just understanding, Guru Maharaj, because person like me, it's totally my intelligence is materially polluted. So when reading about or hearing about the spiritual creation,
Yes.
so when should because when we hear something, we correlate it with our intelligence or try to perceive something.
Yes.
It's totally, because we have been studying from the childhood that Earth revolves around the sun, but Bhagavatam explains the sun revolves around all the planets.
Yes.
So it is just like to increase the faith. Is it the right way to just simply accept first initially what is said, so that the faith develops gradually?
The word faith is mentioned here, of course, and yes, unless it is not blind faith, in that we have reasons to actually develop our shraddha, or our faith, as we come to know and understand how this whole cosmic universe is functioning in ways that are totally beyond our understanding. And even, like Prabhupada, the whole incident, or the whole historical event of the landing on the moon, which actually put the faith of some of Prabhupada's disciples to test. They were really tested, and some of them actually could not pass the test. Some left actually because Prabhupada was so strong in upholding that they did not go to the moon. Which is when that was happening and it was being filmed, etc., etc., was extremely difficult for people to understand. So yes, we have to build our faith, because that is also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 9, verse number 3. Those who are having less faith, then they will not be able to accept, and how can somebody lift a hill with a little finger? I mean, even with 2 hands you can't do it, but to speak of a little finger, So, asradadhana purusha dharmasya parantapa aprapyamam nivartanti mrityu samsaravatmani. Krishna explains to Arjuna, those who are actually lacking in faith, in dharma, then they will, it means that we are stuck, we are conditioned with our limited, imperfect tools in terms of this material body, in terms of the senses and the mind and the intelligence. Because it is material, it's just, we cannot understand. It is impossible to understand both the spiritual cosmic manifestation, and even we cannot understand because the material dimension, because it is working under even the material energy is like inconceivable how it is functioning. What the scientists used to think, I mean, when I was younger, we used to read in the science books how, an atom is a very simple thing of protons and neutrons, and but now, the books have changed. They change all the time, and because they continue to discover new realms and new dimensions, etc. So even the smallest of atoms is like more complicated than the largest city in the world, with all the street lights and all the homes and all the, what makes up a city is like modern day city nowadays is very complex, extremely complex. So yes, therefore at some point we have to accept the limitations that we all have. Being in this material world, having the very imperfect and limited tools that we have. And that's why our acharyas explain that due to these 4 basic defects, we all have these 4 basic defects, therefore this process of trying to understand things with imperfect means will never be successful. And therefore our Vaishnav position, and those who are transcendentalists, they accept knowledge as being given from a perfect source who is beyond, that perfect source being beyond this material cosmic manifestation, because there are things that are things relating to consciousness, for example, is beyond our understanding. So it is humbling, actually. This is meant to make us humble. Our problem is that we are here in the material world because we are not humble. Due to this, this is our problem with our false understanding, our false identity, or false belief that we can be independently successful or independently happy. So life experience is meant to bring us to a position where we have to understand our limitation, you know. Although the jivas are very powerful, all living entities are very powerful, but we are limited. We are only a part of that ultimate source, means Krishna. And that is the very clear explanation that Krishna gives also in the Bhagavad Gita. That small living spark, the amsha, we are all this amsha, mamai vangsho jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatana, mana shastrani indriyani prakriti stani karsati. When that small particle comes in contact with this material aspect, especially as mentioned in the mind and intelligence of the senses, then we become bewildered. And on that platform, it is simply creating all kinds of difficult situations where we cannot understand with those limited tools. So it means we have to go beyond, and to go beyond we have to accept what is mentioned in these literatures and take up the process which is recommended. So if we do that, then more easily we can accept the inconceivable, knowing that that's how it is. It is beyond our ability to conceive. Something there? Okay. So we will close for now. Yes. Jai Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Gaur Pimanande.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Wonderful class. In this actually summarizes the entire fifth canto. Maharaj especially mentioned that this fifth canto describes about obviously the hellish man, but also the cosmology which is described earlier, and then also Virat Rupa also was mentioned because Arjuna had requested to see that Rupa, and which is there is a whole chapter dedicated to that particular information. So, and Maharaj mentioned that as we go on hearing such things, it will help us to appreciate the position of the Supreme Lord, and that's the most beautiful thing, that with our limited intelligence, with our limited tools, which are basically the senses, it's very difficult to conceive the inconceivable Lord. So, but our job is to just keep on reading And so that the purification also happens, also the faith increases. I mean, to the point that Srila Prabhupada also mentioned about when he completed the fifth canto, that once devotees read, some may leave Krishna consciousness. So, and specifically for that, probably Prabhupada also wanted the TOP, where they're going to build that whole universal structures inside the TOVP. And then Maharaj actually gave a beautiful reference to Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, the last shloka, 43rd shloka, where it is clearly mentioned by Krishna, and Prabhupada writes in the translation that one should steady the mind. Krishna is telling Arjuna, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence. In brackets, Prabhupada writes, Krishna consciousness. And thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust. And then, and Maharaj then actually goes on mentioning as an addition to that particular chapter, shloka, Maharaj says, our situation is basically to accept that we are very small and insignificant and agree to the process that it works, which is recommended by the Lord Himself. And that should be our position, is what Maharaj was stressing upon. And he also mentioned that, why Parikshit Maharaj? Somebody may ask why Parikshit Maharaj, and that is probably Srila Prabhupada also was writing. Maharaj paraphrased it, saying why Parikshit Maharaj is asking Shukadeva Goswami to explain about the planetary systems and all those things in detail, whereas he had very few days left. But that actually then Prabhupada explains that to know about the Lord is indicating the Lord's greatness, power, and so that we can appreciate. And that's what Maharaj was actually stressing upon. That so that we can move towards surrendering more to Krishna. And then Maharaj beautifully made a last statement that our goal is to reconnect with Krishna. Thank you so much. I think it's a very wonderful class. Anybody would like to share some inputs which I might have missed, or maybe some realizations? Please unmute and share.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. It is beyond our imagination, and we can't even accept whatever Prabhu said, because we are so mundane, material world. It is very difficult to accept. It will take some more time for us to digest and realize. Hare Krishna Prabhu and Pranam.
Certainly, our part is to just stay on, and just keep
stay on the Krishna consciousness and keep doing the devotional services.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to share? Okay, if there is nothing further, we'll end the class with Vaishnava Prams, one Shakal Patadubish, Vasan Dukhevajan. Patithanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Anantakoti Vaishnavindaki Jai. Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada Jai. We'll meet tomorrow at the same. Hare Krishna. I'll end the session.
Jai Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. I think Maharaj was insisting on that word that was used by Srila Prabhupada, deliberately. So I think, what it reveals is every word that Prabhupada has used in this purport, he used it deliberately.
Yeah.
That's a very, intense meaning. And Maharaj was trying to, I think he's a native English speaker, but he himself is trying to struggle. And I wouldn't say struggle, but it took a few more seconds for him to recollect that word and then connect. So that gives,
Yes.
how intensively Prabhupada was actually working on
Very true. Thank you for sharing. Wonderful.
It's not casually written.
It's very deliberate. And it is deliberate not for that particular time period. It is actually, that deliberation is for the entire, probably how many years to come.
Super. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna. I'll end the session now. Thank you so much. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai.